Hello again. Now, this is a quickie. We went shopping this morning. It's Sunday morning. We don't normally go shopping on a Sunday morning, but Ruth wanted a few bits and bobs, and the supermarket, it's part of a chain, but it's a small one, you know, a small version of it, and it's in a town quite close by called, hang on, I'm just going to move this speaker a bit. Yeah, called Allon. It's not far from where we live. We live in an area, there's a group of 4 small towns. There's Allon and Braine-sur-Allon and Villebernier. I'll come back to Villebernier in a minute. And Varennes-sur-Loire, where we live. And it's like a little group of towns north of Saumur in the Loire Valley. Now, so we're going shopping. Now, not just that, but we needed to go to get some cash. And at Allon, there's a branch of the Crédit Agricole Bank, which is the bank we use. And we had a delivery of wood this week. Now, Christian, our wood supplier, he's ever since we've been in France, he's been our wood supplier. He popped in and he said, I brought a load of wood because I think you might be getting short. Well, because it's so blinking cold, we're burning quite a lot at the moment. The poêle, that's the wood burner, is on maximum. Heats the whole house, you see. It's in the lounge. So I'll throw in a picture of that. So he came along, and so we need to pay him for his wood. He brought two trailer loads. 4 or 5 4 or 5 cubic meters. I chopped some of it up, put it in boxes. I've got some plastic boxes I brought with me, which I store the wood in. It keeps it dry, and also in the warm weather it's like a little oven. The sun gets on the box and it dries the wood inside. So I needed to get some cash, so we went off to Allon to the supermarket and to the cash dispenser. Well, the supermarket cash dispenser was empty. There's a whole line of folks going in and out of the bank Sunday morning. No cash. So someone must have had a busy Saturday night or something. Anyway, it's empty. So that'll do. I'll get some tomorrow. But back at the supermarket, it's a branch of a big chain, so the prices aren't really cheap, but it's very convenient. Got a smashing butcher as well. They have their own butcher there, and he was open today as well, Sunday morning. Anyway, we went and got what we wanted, a big carrier bag full, you know. We were at the checkout, and there was 2 checkouts working, so I can tell you there were quite a few folks there. And some chap bought a newspaper, so I just want a newspaper, and so I gave it to the checkout girl, and she took his money, and you know, while we were all going through the checkout at the same time. Anyway, someone asked her about, have you seen my horoscope? They seem to be mad on horoscopes here. Lots of magazines you get. I've got all kinds of horoscope things in, and yeah, horoscopes are pretty popular in France. And so, here, give me that paper, she said. This chap, he just bought his paper, and she leaned over and said, hey, give me your paper back a minute. So-and-so wants a horoscope. So she opened up the back of the paper, and there's a line of folks at the checkout, and the girl behind was surfing as well. Oh, what's your gate? What's your star sign then? You know, so whatever. So this lady was obviously a friend of hers, and oh yeah. So then she turned to me and says, "What's your star?" I said, "Hey, hang on a minute. What do you? It's your horoscope." She said, "Do you want to know what your horoscope is?" Oh no, not really. I'm not into horoscopes. So she then. Oh, well, I think that probably put the tin hat on it. So she got back to serving everybody else. But anyway, there we are. So that was quite an interesting interlude at the checkout at the local supermarket, where everybody had to wait while the checkout girl read 2 or 3 horoscopes, and you could have your horoscope read for free off the newspaper. You hadn't even got to buy the newspaper. The only trouble is everybody else knew your horoscope as well. So if it was something amusing and sexy or something like that, well, we all had a good laugh. So I thought, well, I'd better mention that because it was such an interesting visit this morning, Sunday morning in France at the supermarket. Going back to Villebernier, one of the towns in our group, we had our vœu de mer. not it's Sunday, not last night, Saturday before. Now, Vœux de Maire in France is where the mayor and the local councillors, who are important, they are responsible, and they have all your money, you know, all your taxes and everything, it goes through the local mayor. And he spends it with his councillors on schools, roads, buildings, local amenities, parks and gardens and everything else. Anything and everything that is run by a council in your local community, our mayor in France has control. Financial, everything else. He employs his own men to do the job. They employ the school person. They employ the staff at the school. They run the school canteen, which actually supplies food to 2 or 3 other local schools as well. You know, they've got it really well organised. So the mayor is very important, and he has a lot of power. You know, if you want to do anything, you must get on the right side of the mayor. So Vœux de Maire is an important night. It's when, at the beginning of the next year, beginning of the new year, when the mayor and the councillors all get together, and they're in the town. Well, it isn't a town hall, it's the Salle de Fête, it's the events building, you know, where everything happens, dances. We've got a play coming up next week, starts a local theatre play in there and all. It's a big hall. Ours is a big one and quite modern. It's a very, very vibrant town and very go ahead. It has its own health centre and, you know, and a very big school, and it's very go ahead. So it's when the councillors and the mayor get together and they explain to you what they've been doing for the last year and what they're going to do next year. And they're accountable for all your money, everything that you give them, you know, in your taxes. They have to account every penny that they've spent and show you that they're doing the right thing and they're responsible and they're doing it for you. So they had to explain about the plans for the next year, which includes some more community housing, you know, flats for people to rent. And they're extending the health centre to include some dentists. Oh dear, what else are they doing? There's quite a few other jobs that they're actually doing. Oh, they're improving a building they've got for teenagers. There's like a teenage club society set up, especially used in the summertime to give the kids activities and things. And they're improving the facilities for that group as well. Oh, there's other things as well. Anyway, this evening, Saturday evening, it starts 6 o'clock. And the local band's playing. We have a very good local band, and they have a music school, would you believe, as well, in association with Villebernier. There's probably room for 1,000 people in the hall sitting down, and it was full. Our little town is about 2,000 inhabitants in total. It's quite well spread out. It's a very enormous geographical town, but big proportion were there. So the mayor has his speeches, the deputy mayor, and then they get some of the local bigwigs to come along, because in Saumur there's an aglo system. All the stuff that you know, this waste, plastic waste and all that kind of thing, it's all collected and either sold, and garden waste, and the money goes to community. And part of it comes back to our town. So Saumur Aglo will have contributed to some of the projects in our town, including the health centre and things like that. So the boss of the Saumur Aglo is there to talk, and there's 1 or 2 other local councillors who had held responsible jobs in the department. They were there, and they had a bit to say. Then afterwards, a bit more music from the band, and then afterwards the mayor comes up and he says, "Now the bar's open," sort of thing. The room next door, the small salle, is where you can go and get sparkling wine. And there's the rest of the evening, from about 7:30 to, well, we left at about 10 o'clock, I suppose. Then they're serving the councillors and the staff, local council staff in the mairie and the post office, because they run the post office as well, and the chaps who do the parks and gardens and roads and everything else. They were there serving sparkling wine from Saumur. I can't remember which company it was this year, but Saumur, you know, is the centre of the Loire sparkling wine industry. Can't be called champagne, but it's blinking good. It's very fruity, very tasty. Lots of different companies make it. So we had that, and we had little snacks, casse-croûte, little snacks. Those little tiny sandwiches in a complete bread loaf, and they chop it all out and carve it up, and they make little sandwiches and stick it all back in again, you know. And there's sort of cheese paste and salmon and stuff all together, but close, and very, very tiny little sandwiches. There's lots of those. And we had like haggis. I have a thing called a boudin noir, which is a bit like haggis, I suppose. It's like a sausagey thing, and they had that hot, bits of that. And then they had other nibbles, and there was some savoury cheese puffs. Now they are rather delicious. And all the time this wine keeps coming. I was dragged off, I suppose. Ruth says, "You've had enough." So we left about 9:30. But you get a chance to meet everybody. It's what is it in England they call it? Not telework. No, it's anyway, you're meeting people all the time, new people and old people, new friends, and if you haven't spoken to somebody for a bit, there's your chance to do it. If somebody lives the other side of, miles away, you don't see them very often. So, and then I met some more local mayors. I met the mayor of Villebernier. I suppose he was fairly well oiled by this time, and of course I'm the mayor of the city of Villebernier. Well, Villebernier is a bit smaller than Varennes, so I suppose it's a bit under 2,000 inhabitants, but he was determined it was the city of Villebernier, and he was a very nice chap. I met a very nice lady mayor from a place called La Bray, which is up in the woods beyond Braine-sur-Olonne, and she was there. See, the mayors, they invite the local mayors close by to take part in these events, and so they get invited as well, you see, to their events. It's all to do with, I'll think of the word. Maybe you'll tell me. There's a word, isn't there, for talking to other people, and an English word anyway, of sharing ideas and that kind of thing. I can't remember what it is. As you get older, your brain works a lot slower, and I'm working in 2 languages all the time, so it's doing pretty well, really. So that's it, really. We've had a pretty busy 2 weekends. Helena's coming next week to stay with us for a week, our daughter from England. So we're getting ready for that. The first camellias are coming out, would you believe? Beautiful. It's very frosty at the moment. We've had several days where it hasn't gone above 0. But the camellias are just, clocking on a bit. And I'm hoping that by the time Helena comes, the camellias will actually be in flower. Some of them anyway, because they're very pretty. So anything else to tell you at the moment? We've had the Vœux de Mer, which was really a super event. And so we know all about what's happening next year. And I mentioned about the towns. I mentioned that supermarket and having our horoscope read in the supermarket this morning. So I think that's enough for today. So until the next time, remember, if you like it, give us a like, think about subscribing, share it with your mates. Until the next time, cheerio.